What is up, my sexy army? XpertThief here.
Hey, what is up, guys? Vanoss here.
Typical gamer here.
My name is Nought.
Piece of Kwebbelkop left.
We are the problem, Daddy.
Enough is enough. I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Do not believe Boss Man fucking World or whatever his name is.
Why can you not stop lying? Please stop lying! What is wrong with you?
Let's do this!
Let's begin with the unforgettable trio of Jelly, Slogoman and Kwebbelkop, boasting their famous colours with green, red and orange, and who together became known as the Robust Group. But despite their success, it all went wrong, and the truth is darker than you could ever imagine. But let's start with Jelly's version of events. Jelly, or Jelle van Vught, first started his YouTube journey under a completely different alias, known as GTA 5 videos, which, as the name suggests, posted anything GTA 5 related. He released his first video on the 2nd of November 2011, nearly 2 full years before the game's release.
Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Drizzler, aka Jelle.
After getting in early, he had a significant advantage, and because of this, Jelly managed to grow his channel into his new full-time job, achieving over 100,000 subscribers in the process. So by the time Rockstar released their biggest entertainment product to date, Jelly was ready to capitalize to the fullest. But there was one major problem. Jelly had no identity. People cared about the information, but they just didn't care about him. And this was so important to Jelly that there was only one solution, but it would also be the biggest decision of his career. In May 2014, Jelly took a leap of faith by launching his new and more personal channel, completely abandoning GTA 5 videos at more than 600,000 subscribers, all to start from scratch amid one of the most competitive spaces on YouTube. In the moment, it was a plain stupid decision. He was risking years of work for the chance to make it big on his own channel, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Nevertheless, Jelly seemed to have hatched a plan, which consisted of posting 2 videos every single day, uploading funny moments with Kwebbelkop as well as a guy named Cody. But he started to gain real traction when Slogoman was introduced a few months later, providing a new dynamic as the annoying one of the group. However, it wasn't just easy and uphill from there. For example, in the early days, Jelly was doing everything himself, recording, editing, and coming up with all the ideas, and he's regularly described pulling 15-hour days. So even though he lived with Kwebbelkop at the time, they actually barely saw each other. Regardless, just a year later, the Three Musketeers would go on to achieve great success.
Thank you so much for 1 million subscribers.
Yes! I saw it, baby!
Fast forward 5 years and the Robust Group was still going strong. Well, kind of. Jelly had reached his peak, generating 500 million views in 1 month. However, his best friend wasn't there to see it, due to him being replaced several months earlier by a Danish YouTuber called Craner. Between 2019 and 2020, the team started to crack. Mysteriously, Kwebbelkop, or Geordie, was featured in less and less videos, and at the same time he was making videos by himself, pivoting to low-effort reaction content. But what caused him to do this? Ironically, at his pinnacle of over 150 million views per month, Geordie needed to quit.
So that was, I would say, the lowest I'd been physically and mentally, even though I was probably the highest I'd been on YouTube.
After posting every day since 2012 and uploading thousands of videos, Geordie was seriously burnt out.
I couldn't really feel emotions anymore, and I was depressed, and I went to therapy for it.
Kwebbelkop was in a bad spot. He had neglected his mental and physical health for nearly 8 years, living in the spotlight and being under constant stress and pressure, and that had finally caught up to him. Therefore, Geordie took a step back, leading him to break up with his girlfriend of 3.5 years, as well as withdrawing from the Robust Group. However, when Geordie returned, he decided to continue his passion for YouTube, but under one condition. He wanted a new face to replace him. Hence, Geordie had to find someone else, but this is where it all went wrong. At the time, Kwebbelkop was making Minecraft videos with the help of a few in-game cameramen, with one of them named Hassan. Hassan had worked his way up by proving his expertise, and on one occasion he actually stole the job of his teammate.
And, you know, I feel kind of bad about this, but I actually got the guy fired. And within the first month, I actually got promoted.
Soon enough, he was being featured in a lot of Geordie's videos, and because the community really liked him, a new channel was born. Hassan was the face, but Geordie owned the channel and offered to even cover the costs. Unsurprisingly, the Tiger channel grew extremely fast, and so Hassan proposed to Geordie.
Sometime in the future, I would like to fully own the channel.
Upon hearing this news, the next day Kwebbelkop exploded, and this tiny disagreement led to the end of Tiger. But not before Geordie would try with AI.
Of course, Tiger. When do you want your first video to go live?
April 2nd, 2021.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here. I have no words.
Unfortunately, all of this provoked the creation of the infamous Kwebbelkop AI, but we all know how that turned out.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here.
Anyway, moving on from that, we have the clickbait king, and he could quite literally talk for England, if he was English that is. Mr. Boss for the win, or James Ross Hudgens, is renowned as the laughingstock of the GTA community. He's obtained more than 3 million subscribers, supposedly covering news, leaks and speculation, but under the surface, there's so many counts of blatantly misleading and lying to viewers.
My question's obviously for Ross. I just wanted to know why you use deceiving thumbnails when talking directly about GTA Online.
I just found it interesting.
And do you know what else he finds interesting? Stretching every video to 8 minutes long. Just take a look at his channel. Finding a video under that threshold is like finding a needle in a haystack. But best of all is the comments from the community, where they state hilarious things, like for example, 8:44 is the best part of the video, despite the video only being 8 minutes long. And moreover, the general hatred towards him is unheard of, but it didn't used to be this way. Mr. Boss for the win began his YouTube journey in 2010. Despite his oldest video dating back to 2012, it's a known fact that Ross started a few years prior.
Before Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, I had 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that was like 2.5 to 3 years of work.
During this period, Ross, just like some of the others, was initially occupied with Call of Duty. But of course, after experimentation, Ross came to realise that he excelled at short, digestible content, consisting of news and other information. And as a result, Ross achieved his first viral videos on November 13th, 2012, coinciding with the release of the legendary Black Ops 2. However, after a year from launch, the hype started to die off, and so too did his viewership. Therefore, Mr. Boss for the win pivoted to the latest and greatest game.
Grand Theft Auto 5 pulled in $1 billion in sales in 3 days.
Naturally, Ross stuck with his winning formula, 3 to 5 minute videos on literally anything GTA 5 related, and within a year he had posted over 600 videos, skyrocketing his channel close to 400,000 subscribers, and to be honest with you, Ross deserved it. Personally, I used to watch him back in the day, and I'm sure you did too, so because of that, I decided to include him in this video, and that's why his downfall is so hard to watch. By 2016, people started to catch on, and clickbait was prominent on Ross's channel. Simultaneously, after 6 years on YouTube, Ross had perfected the art of rambling, and hence his audience noticed a pattern: longer videos and less value every single time. Full 1-minute intros were becoming commonplace, and it wasn't out of the ordinary for Ross to regurgitate the same info just across different videos, sometimes even in the same day. But later on is where Ross would destroy his reputation forever. You see, Mr. Boss for the win likes streaming fairly often. He would play with members of the stream in GTA Online, as well as helping his crew with cell missions in the game. But unlucky for Ross, his fans set out to take revenge. Their goal was simple: ruin the stream as much as humanly possible, and annoy Ross in the process. And quite frankly, they were incredibly successful, to the point where these compilations would generate millions of views.
Up next, we got Judy.
However, Ross wouldn't take this lightly at all, and to retaliate, he tried doxing the griefers in an attempt to intimidate them and force them into leaving. In one instance, Ross even doxed somebody for making a single Twitter post. So in my humble opinion, this really crosses the line. Despite the fact that none of this information was ever published, you have to bear in mind that the victims were probably children, and Ross is a grown adult. So overall, it didn't have to turn out like this, because while Ross pursued controversy, others pursued authenticity. The professional, whose real name is Patrick, has been going for more than a decade, so if you've ever played GTA Online, then you've definitely heard of him. Objectively, Patrick's editing isn't the best, so you might assume his videos are low effort. However, Patrick makes up for it by cosplaying and delivering exceptional information in every video. For example, in his video about Mr. Faber from GTA Online, he explains in detail how he's the most powerful money launderer in Los Santos. And that's just a single example, because despite that, Patrick's a go-to for money guides in GTA Online, as he's legitimately made over $1 billion. So he definitely knows what he's talking about. But did you know that he wasn't always called the professional? Patrick created his channel on November 29th, 2015, where he's planning to build a channel around the iconic Star Wars Battlefront, which for sure holds a special place in my heart. Nevertheless, in July of 2016, several months after his first video, Patrick decided he wanted to rebrand to allow him to produce new content. He absolutely loved the film Heat, which was the main inspiration behind his avatar, as well as South Park, I presume. And furthermore, because he loved movies containing robberies and professional heists, his new name was clear cut.
I changed my channel name from the Gaming Emperor to the Professional. I thought that Gaming Emperor was getting a little cheesy.
Since this turning point, Patrick stayed consistent for more than 5 years, surpassing 1 million subscribers on November the 11th, 2021. Ultimately, it's obvious he hasn't changed one bit, and his humbleness is admirable.
I'm at 153 subscribers right now. Thank you guys for all your support and everything. Thank you for your help.
In spite of Patrick's rise, there was only one major altercation. During filming for a money guide, the professional ran into a crew who ended up killing him relentlessly.
You know, I'm friendly and all, but if you want a war, you'll get a war.
It seems like a standard GTA interaction, but that's where things turned sour.
Plainview, New York, how is it now? It's not actually in my town, but this fucking dumbass.
As you may have guessed, these guys responded in the most mature way possible.
I really wanted to upload this guide for you guys tonight, but unfortunately I couldn't because this piece of that just starts DDoSing.
Undeniably, the professional is a most noble character in the GTA community, and so was the next YouTuber. Well, sometimes. But before we get into it, please consider subscribing to help me produce more high quality videos like this.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Matthew Judge, aka DarkViperAU.
Dark Viper needs no introduction, but if you don't know who he is, he's basically a GTA 5 speedrunning fanatic. Matt's humble beginnings were in late 2012, where he interestingly focused on politics, religion, and philosophy. Supposedly, Matt discovered Twitch a couple years later via his enjoyment of Hearthstone tournaments, but soon after he tried streaming himself, and that's where Dark Viper would eventually strike gold. In 2016, Matt graduated from Swinburne University with a degree in psychology, and some might say that this was utilised later on. However, in June of 2017, Dark Viper achieved his first major success, that being his first long-standing world record, which persisted for a few months before being overtaken by Torix. But following this was Dark Viper's most dominant year, where he spent 257 days as GTA 5's fastest speedrunner, and during this time, Matt would concentrate on posting GTA 5 videos, so naturally, staying at the top of the charts gradually tapered off. Although, in contrast, his YouTube channel grew rapidly. At this point, Dark Viper racked up over 5,000 hours in-game, so his videos about GTA 5 facts and glitches had unreplicable knowledge. Therefore, when combined with his popular Pacifist series in 2019 and the one-hit KO runs from 2020, Matt suddenly experienced exponential growth. After all, he was striving to beat GTA 5 with 0 damage, which would crown him first in the world. And just after a year, his most viral clip was born.
What? There aren't cougars in missions!
Despite this, Matt continued to grind his one-hit KO, spending months upon months developing new strategies and failing time and time again.
Headshot has never happened before. I have practiced that hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of times and never seen that even once.
But on October 9th, 2021, Matt set out to finish it once and for all. Since day one, he had put his blood, sweat and tears into this challenge, so with over 8,000 hours behind him, nothing was going to stand in his way. And just 11 grueling hours later, Matthew Judge completed it.
It's over! It's done! Finally! There's so many things that I want to say.
However, none of it mattered, because a new kid on the block had beat him to it. And what happened next was extremely shocking. DarkViper failed to congratulate Unnamed, claiming that he hoarded strategies to beat him, as well as comparing his actions to that of a kill stealer. Furthermore, Unnamed was banned from DarkViper's Discord for allegedly bragging about his success. However, there was no proof to back this, and to make matters worse, Unnamed received loads of backlash, which resulted with his videos being bombarded with dislikes and negative comments. But Matt's controversies wouldn't end there. And following this, he would have fallouts with numerous creators, such as Willie Mac Show, Carl Jobst, and The Quartering, who he famously called a disingenuous dense mother. But adding on to that, we have Penguins or Moist Critical, as well as Cyberboy.
You will not stop until I'm dead. You've taken away my livelihood. There you go. What else do you want from me?
Now, I must be honest, a few of these conflicts have been resolved, which is true in the case of Penguins and Unnamed. However, it's very hard to ignore this pattern, because ultimately it led to the disbanding of the 6-Star podcast, and the end of a 5-year friendship with TGG. Unfortunately, I was unable to retrieve the details, nor do we have time to cover them. Astro Soup was loved dearly by the GTA community, so much so that an entire archive exists to preserve his videos after he vanished from the internet, and it's only years later that we know the real reason why. Astro Soup was popularised because he wasn't your typical GTA YouTuber. He used GTA Online like a canvas to make cinematic videos and tell stories about the common stereotypes. For instance, meet the grinders of GTA Online and meet the wannabe tryhards. Originally, he uploaded under the name Paxanova in 2016, but Astro first found his footing with GTA Online, not because he was the best or due to him having a huge group to play with, but because he loved filmmaking and the Rockstar editor was his weapon of choice. Ultimately, Astro's style was fresh and against the grain of the traditional videos at the time. Therefore, with his new approach towards GTA Online, Astro started gaining a bit of traction, posting one of his most popular videos in 2019, focused on the orbital cannon, which eventually gained nearly 4 million views. Despite this, Astro achieved his first major breakthrough when he got mentioned by PRG. This gave him the recognition he deserved, and following this was enormous growth, with November 2019 netting Astro 50,000 subscribers in 1 month. However, on October 24th, 2020, Astro Soup was gone. And with no explanation, tension and speculation started to rise. But luckily, the truth would surface a few days later. Similar to Kwebbelkop, at his peak, Astro claimed he was mentally ill. But unfortunately, he would fail to elaborate on this, leaving everyone in the dark, wondering if he would ever return. But then, on December the 1st, 2025, just 5 short years later, their prayers would be answered.
You might have several questions like, why did I leave? Why was it so abrupt? Why am I back?
Astro's reasoning was simple. It's not fun when it's a job. And to continue, he's going to treat YouTube as a passion project, just as he did all those years ago. But Astro wasn't the only one to step out of the spotlight. 0.4 Live is a face you likely recognise from back in the day. Personally, I remember him best for his modded videos, like the biggest tsunami in GTA 5 and the biggest ice age ever that led to a combined 25 million views. However, when I rediscovered him, or Fred, I unveiled a whole world of controversy, greed, and the dark truth on why he changed his name to just Nought. Fred's childhood was very different from most. At only 5 months old, it was apparent Fred was incredibly sick. He wouldn't eat or drink, and he would continuously cry whilst oddly going blue in the face. Of course, his parents were very worried, and hence they took a trip to the doctors. But in doing so, Fred was rushed to the hospital and into emergency surgery where he almost died. However, as Fred grew bigger, more problems arose, and upon turning 7 years old, he returned to the hospital for 12 more operations, which led to Fred receiving an artificial heart valve. Surely now he'd be fine. At 11 years old, Fred progressed on to middle school. Finally, everything was back to normal, and moreover, he met new friends as well as excelling in his classes. But over time, there was one issue that was impossible to ignore.
A lot of my friends, for some reason, were getting a lot bigger than me, and I became very, very small.
Fred developed a growth deficiency, so he had to inject hormones daily for the next few years. Given the unfortunate situation, some would ask, why me? However, Fred used his young look to his advantage, because despite all he had been through, Fred learned how to play the violin, and he put this to use in his local town, playing popular songs or busking as it were, in order to save up for his first PC. It goes without saying, Fred became extremely addicted to Call of Duty, describing himself as a literal no-life, and spurred on by his brother to create 0.4 Live. Now, you may be wondering, where did this name originate from? And I did too, but sadly there is no definitive answer online. Anyway, Fred is supposedly one of the first people to complete the Moon Easter egg, which propelled his channel to 35,000 subscribers. And by April 2014, 0.4 Live was known as the Easter egg guy, boasting over 140k subs just 7 months after GTA 5 released. And what's funny is that he did all of this while not being officially old enough to buy the game. But in the years to come, Fred's success would be overshadowed by his new reputation. 2016 marks the start of Nought's controversy. At this stage, GTA 5 had been out for nearly 3 years, so with its popularity dwindling, Nought resorted to the age-old tactic: clickbait. Take this for example, Mount Chiliad mural solved in GTA 5, which includes 11 minutes of waffle to get to the conclusion that there is no answer. Although in fact, this mystery was finalised 9 years after, where it actually relates to the UFOs when you get 100% completion. An even better example is, have you seen this mythical creature at Fort Zancudo? Or maybe the constant barrage of DLC news, which obviously never came into fruition. Now, in my opinion, clickbait is overall subjective. However, Nought's next strategy was objectively unethical. On the 4th of September 2017, a GTA YouTuber by the name of Robin Rams randomly exposed 0.4 Live. Not only was Nought stealing videos, he was also scamming more views in the process, and this spread like wildfire, with supporters rallying behind Robin Rams. On top of this, YouTube was flooded with people hating on 0.4 Live, and of course, they took to his comment section to unleash the wrath. Well, they tried. You see, Fred had banned every buzzword in addition to Robin Rams in a deliberate attempt to silence the controversy. However, it was too late. The damage was done, and the community got a glimpse at the real 0.4 Live. Therefore, in order to get everyone off of his back, he changed his name to just Nought and pivoted to kid-friendly GTA content, consisting of strange forced laughs every 10 seconds, plus a noticeable American accent, which all in all makes him a sad shadow of his former self. XpertThief is a true OG. He began way before any of the other GTA creators in April of 2006, pretty close to the creation of YouTube itself. To start with, he mainly posted Halo videos, but he only properly started uploading in 2010. Expert is most well known for his popular Thug Life series, which entailed him messing around in GTA Online, executing challenges and ideas suggested by his fans, which I believe is how most of us found him. Overall, his videos were contagious, and I remember it was him who popularised passive mode trolling, because after that, absolutely everybody was doing it. Nevertheless, Expert painfully ended the iconic series on the 100th episode, which coincided with the next-gen release of GTA 5. But to celebrate the series' success, he wholesomely gave out $100 gift cards to his loyal fans. Thief supposedly ended Thug Life because he wanted to keep things simple, whilst also not excluding newer viewers. So for the next year and a half, XpertThief experimented with new content, as well as a new series called GTA Unlimited. However, this was discontinued after only 12 episodes. It was short-lived to say the least, and the fans were growing tired of being ignored. They loved XpertThief, and I loved XpertThief, but his videos just weren't hitting the spot anymore. But the plain solution was staring him in the face all along. Just bring back Thug Life. And on April 11th, 2016, he did just that.
What is up, guys? XpertThief here. But you can call me XTOOOG.
For his diehard fans, this was a dream come true. Finally, the old XpertThief was back, and he was definitely here to stay, because luckily this epic series would carry on indefinitely, with Expert racking up over 5 million subscribers and 600 episodes of Thug Life as of 2026. But the harsh reality is, they don't get the views that they once did. And this is a common theme with all the nostalgic YouTubers that we used to love. It's not that their content has got worse, it's just that our expectations are higher, and we've grown up and moved on, but these GTA YouTubers haven't grown with us. Undoubtedly, this video wouldn't be complete without this one name. Sitting at millions upon millions of subs and over 16 billion views, it's none other than VanossGaming. Unlike every other creator on this list, Vanoss was already big before GTA 5 came out, attracting just under 2 million subs with his next level Black Ops 2 content. But when GTA 5 released, he completely exploded, reaching 10 million subscribers in less than 14 months, and in my opinion, this is no surprise at all. For an example, let's look at Evan's most popular video, uploaded in 2015, but it was definitely ahead of its time. As you might expect, it features one of his trademark intros.
Oh, we were on the bed.
He left us on the bed.
To me, this video is faultless. For starters, the editing, pacing, and the comedic timing is unmatched.
Alright, listen, mini lad.
What?
We are going to save you, okay?
Yes, we found building.
But first, let's play with this new GTA 5 mobile.
Yeah.
However, when you combine this with Evan's creative vision, in addition to his immense dedication, then the results just speak for themselves. So overall, it's no wonder he was able to achieve over 1 million subscribers per month. But he didn't do it alone. The renowned crew were with him every step of the way. Wildcat, Moose Knuckle, H2O Delirious, Nogla, Silent Droid, Terrorizer, Basically I Do Work, 407, Louis Caliber, and
I just unfollowed Minilad on Twitter.
Man.
Anyway, let's recap some of the crew's best moments.
What's up, everybody? My name is Delirious. This is my crib right here. I created it by hand. Took me about 2 hours.
Why does it look like a giant dick?
Damn, it does look like a giant
dick. Get the fuck out of here. All right.
Of course, the banana bus is cemented in my memory. However, one we could never forget is the Terminator.
Did somebody mention a chopper?
Yeah.
Let's be real, it's impossible to choose a favourite because there are just so many funny moments. But I do adore the playthrough of the Pacific Standard heist, when Vanoss throws Wildcat off of the bike for no reason. And then he goes on to land an insane stunt, and then he proceeds to kill Wildcat again, which is just the icing on the cake.
Oh shit.
Thank you to Vanoss and the many others for giving us unforgettable memories. You will forever remain GTA's greatest YouTubers. Thank you for making it to the end. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're interested in GTA 6, click this video here.